Northern Europe is no longer just a quiet corner of the world. From the icy peaks of Lapland to the stormy waters of the Baltic Sea, a transformation is underway. Sweden, Norway, and Finland, three nations often thought of as peaceful, prosperous, and somewhat removed from the turbulence of world politics, are now building some of the most capable military forces in Europe. The reason is simple: geography. These countries sit at NATO's new northern frontier, directly across from Russia's borders and naval bases. If conflict ever spreads beyond Ukraine, this is the theater where the next great contest could unfold. And unlike in the past, when their defense policies often diverged, the three are now converging into something like a regional shield. But here's the twist: they are not equal players. Sweden, with its booming defense industry and NATO membership, is pushing to lead. Norway, though smaller, commands the Arctic and controls vital maritime routes. And Finland, with its massive reserves and artillery, may look less flashy but packs raw defensive muscle. Together, they form a triangle of power, each side covering the others, each bringing something unique. This is the story of Scandinavia's military rise in 2025. Who leads, who follows, and what it all means for Europe's security. But before we start, I'm on a road to get 1,000 subs as a small channel. If you want to help me, then like, subscribe, and enjoy watching this video. Thank you. The Nordic countries once followed very different strategies for survival. Sweden, once a European empire, embraced neutrality after the Napoleonic Wars. For over 200 years, it avoided conflict, even through both world wars, building an image as armed but non-aligned, a nation that preferred diplomacy to confrontation. Finland's path was harsher. After independence from Russia in 1917, it was forced to fight for survival in the Winter War of 1939–40. After World War II, it lived under Moscow's shadow. Finlandization meant walking a careful line, staying militarily prepared but politically restrained to avoid provoking the Soviet Union. Norway chose NATO. A founding member in 1949, it became the alliance's northern outpost. Its coastline and Arctic position made it strategically vital, with U.S. backing ensuring security during the Cold War. For decades, this mix of neutrality, careful balancing, and alliance membership kept the North relatively calm. But that changed after 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea. Defense spending began to climb. The real break came in 2022 with the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Suddenly, neutrality seemed dangerous. The Nordics realized they were not a quiet corner but a front line. The age of minimal defense was over. Among the Nordic states, Sweden has taken the most dramatic leap in recent years. Once proud of its 200-year policy of neutrality, Sweden finally crossed a historic line in 2024 by joining NATO. The decision ended centuries of standing apart and placed the country firmly inside the alliance's security umbrella. Sweden's 2025 ranking reflects that shift. It now holds the #1 spot in Scandinavia on the Global Firepower Index, outpacing its neighbors. The government has backed this with money. Defense spending has doubled since the mid-2010s, reaching 2% of GDP in 2024 and projected to climb to 2.6% by 2028. That trajectory will make Sweden one of Europe's heaviest spenders relative to its economy. The modernization is sweeping. On land, Sweden is bringing in 44 brand-new Leopard 2A8 tanks and upgrading 66 older Leopards, boosting its armored forces to 154. Its artillery corps is strengthened with the Archer system, a mobile platform prized for its speed and precision. At sea, Sweden's navy is expanding beyond its 387 vessels, including submarines and corvettes, with new corvettes and combat boats already joining NATO patrols. In the air, Sweden fields around 210 aircraft, centered on the Gripen fighter, now upgraded to the more advanced Gripen E surveillance platforms like Global Eye, and a fleet of helicopters add further reach. Sweden's ambitions go beyond numbers. With a strong domestic defense industry, it positions itself not only as a contributor to NATO security, but as a regional leader in defense technology. In the emerging pan-Nordic shield, Sweden aims to be the brain, the innovator and coordinator that sets the pace for the North. If Sweden is the industrial powerhouse of the North, Norway is its Arctic sentinel. Ranked second in Scandinavia on the 2025 Global Firepower Index, Norway's strength is not in sheer numbers but in specialization. Its geography, long coastlines, icy seas, and direct access to the Arctic shapes everything about its defense. Norway's crown jewel is its air fleet. The country has invested heavily in the F-35, with around 52 fighters forming one of the most advanced fleets in Europe. These jets, paired with P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, give Norway unmatched surveillance and strike power over the North Atlantic. Add in helicopters like the Bell 412, Seahawk, and AW-101, and Norway can move troops, hunt submarines, and guard its vast coastline with speed and precision. The Navy complements this mission. Norwegian vessels play a key role in anti-submarine warfare, vital as Russian subs from the Kola Peninsula patrol the Arctic. With NATO exercises like Cold Response, Norway has become the training ground for Allied Arctic warfare, teaching troops how to fight in freezing seas and deep snow. Unlike its neighbors, Norway is wealthy from oil and gas revenues, giving it resources to sustain this high-tech edge. Its forces are smaller than Sweden's or Finland's, but in the Arctic theater, Norway is indispensable, the watchtower at NATO's northern flank. Finland may not top global rankings, but it is built for resilience. With just 5.5 million people, its standing force numbers only about 24,000. Yet in wartime, Finland can field 280,000 soldiers, backed by an 870,000 trained reservists, nearly one-fifth of its population. Few countries in Europe can match that proportion. The foundation is conscription. Every year, young Finns complete military service, ensuring a constant flow of trained recruits. This total defense model extends beyond the Army. Shelters, stockpiles, and civil defense drills keep society itself prepared. Finland's strength lies in artillery. With around 700 howitzers, 700 heavy mortars, and 100 multiple launch rocket systems, it has the largest artillery force in Western Europe. This firepower makes any advance across its forests and lakes costly for an attacker. The Air Force is smaller but modernizing. Finland still operates 62 FFA-18 Hornets, but by 2026 it will begin receiving 64 F-35s, ensuring future air superiority. This mix, light peacetime forces, huge reserves, overwhelming artillery, is no accident. Having fought two brutal wars against the Soviet Union, Finland knows survival depends on readiness. Today, it is NATO's muscle in the north, disciplined, stubborn, and prepared for the worst. By 2025, the old divisions between Sweden, Norway, and Finland have given way to something new, a genuine northern defense bloc. What once was a loose framework, Nordefco, has become the backbone for military integration. With Sweden now in NATO, the three countries can train, plan, and operate on the same footing. Each partner contributes a distinct strength. Sweden brings advanced technology and industry. Its Gripen fighters, Archer artillery, and modern naval fleet are not only for its own use but also help set regional standards. Finland brings manpower. With nearly 900,000 trained reservists and Europe's heaviest artillery, it provides the raw defensive weight. Norway adds geography and specialization. Its fleet of F-35s, P-8 patrol aircraft, and anti-submarine navy make it the alliance's eyes and ears in the Arctic. Joint exercises, from Baltic Sea patrols to Arctic warfare drills, now weave these strengths together. Interoperability improves each year, and NATO increasingly treats the three as a single northern shield, rather than separate forces. Together, they cover land, sea, and air in ways none could manage alone. What was once a quiet frontier is now one of the most tightly defended regions in Europe. For all their progress, the Nordic countries still face limits. Sweden's modernization drive is ambitious, but numbers remain small compared to larger NATO members like Germany, France, or the United States. Its Navy and Air Force are advanced yet stretched thin across the Baltic. Norway's challenge is manpower. With only around 5.5 million people, it cannot field large standing forces. Its strength lies in high-tech systems, but in a prolonged conflict, sustaining operations would depend heavily on allies. Finland's model, meanwhile, comes with trade-offs. Its vast reserves and artillery make it formidable on land, but much of that power exists on paper until mobilized. In the opening days of a fast-moving war, Finland could find itself relying on smaller active forces before its reserves are fully in place. Its navy, too, is limited, with little ability to project power beyond its coasts. Across the region, geography is both an advantage and a burden. Harsh Arctic conditions test equipment and troops, while the proximity to Russia's powerful northern fleet and long-range missiles leaves little room for error. In short, Sweden, Norway, and Finland have built a shield, but it is not invulnerable. Northern Europe is no longer a quiet frontier. Sweden, Norway, and Finland have each built distinct strengths: Sweden's advanced industry and NATO integration, Norway's Arctic air and naval power, and Finland's huge reserves and artillery. Alone, each faces limits. Together, they form one of NATO's most coherent regional shields. This new balance makes the North both stronger and more exposed, deterring attack but also drawing Moscow's focus. Whether it proves stabilizing or provocative remains uncertain. What is certain is that Scandinavia has become a decisive front line in Europe's security.